Hello everyone, today I'm going to be checking out Taikee Wonton in San Jose. Taikee Wonton is known for their authentic Taiwanese food, and more specifically, they're known for their wontons as they use a 5-generation-old recipe, which I find is extremely impressive. I personally love wontons, and I also do enjoy Taiwanese food. I've had a lot of Taiwanese food over the years, so let's go. I can't wait to eat. I just arrived here at Taikee Wonton and I placed my order. I ordered a lot of food and some of the food came out and it's only been about a minute since I placed my order, so they got really fast service here. I'm gonna start off with their eggplant appetizer, and this is spicy eggplant and it looks like it's a spicy sort of garlic brown sauce. That is some great eggplant. I really love how it's cooked. It has a great char on it. Tastes like it was made in a wok, and this sauce is really fresh and vibrant. I love the flavor from the garlic. There's a little bit of ginger and a crunch from green onions. The sauce is quite addicting. It's almost like a soy glaze, so it's kind of sweet and sticky, and there's actually not too much of a spiciness. It's quite mild. I also got their pork feet, and it looks like it's some sort of braised pork feet and like a soy sauce, and braising it means it gets really tender and soft and flavored with all the soy that's in there. So let's give this a taste. These are some great pork feet. They're really simple. It literally just tastes like a little bit of soy sauce that they're braised in. But what I think makes this really special is these are some of the meatiest pork feet I've ever had. It's almost like 50% pork feet meat and then 50% fat and skin. There's really not all too much bone in there. I just really love the texture of the pork feet. Because it's been braised, it's really tender, and I love the sort of stickiness that you get from all the collagen that's in there. Now we're going to be moving on to their wonton noodle soup, and this is definitely one of their most popular items. After all, their name is Taikee Wonton, and we're going to start off with the broth. The broth is a clear broth, and that means it's really smooth and refreshing in a sense. You really get a strong taste of cabbage as well as a taste of the meat in there, so that kind of balances it out very well. And what's also really interesting is there's also a strong taste of celery, and I think that's going to go really nice with the wontons. Let's get a taste of the star to show these wontons. They look silky soft. Those are honestly some of the best wontons I've ever had. The wrapper is paper thin, it's almost translucent, and it just melts in your mouth. It's silky soft, and it's almost like the texture of silken tofu. The incredibly delicate and smooth wrapper is paired perfectly with the meat filling, which is really nice and juicy, and it's so fatty. I just love the rich, porky flavor of the filling, and it's just the juiciest, meatiest, most satisfying thing to bite into in your warm, hot soup. Also, it comes with a little bit of minced pork on top, and it looks really fatty and delicious. I love that they add some extra meat onto here. Love the minced pork as well. It's just rich, fatty minced pork heaven, and it's great just to get a bite of that and then a sip of broth. Of course, we gotta get a big bite of the noodles. I'm really impressed because their noodle texture is so good. I can really tell that they're handmade noodles because they've been soaking in this broth for such a long time, and it was like boiling hot when they brought it out, and they're still bouncy and chewy and just have such a nice texture as you bite into them. Now for the beef noodle soup, and this is one of the most iconic Taiwanese dishes, and I love how this looks. It just has this deep, dark, rich beef broth, and I ordered it mild spicy. And so it looks like it has a little bit of spice because I can see a little bit of chili oil floating around in there. And it has such a rich beef scent to it. This looks amazing. Ooh, That definitely has some heat to it. I'm definitely glad I ordered this broth mild. It definitely tastes more like medium. Definitely has this sort of biting spiciness to it in a really good way, and it's so rich. You really can tell that it's been braised with a whole bunch of beef bones because you taste all the sticky collagen in there, and it's really dark, so you get all those rich meaty juices. It's so beefy and rich. This is incredible. It's almost like the polar opposite of the wonton noodle soup broth. Now for a nice bite of this beef. It's full of so many chunks of beef, and they're really huge pieces. They're more than big enough. Again, ridiculously over-the-top tender beef. You really don't even need teeth to chew it just because it's so soft. It just breaks apart so perfectly in your mouth. And I love the bits of fat running through it. It's not overly fatty. It's just enough to give it a bit of richness. And to balance this out, of course, you have to have a pop of color. So there's some greens with this. I'm not sure what it is. It looks like it could be cabbage. It could also be lettuce. Who knows? That's exactly what you need for a dish like this. It really adds the much needed crunch to it. It's really bright, and it almost tastes like it's some sort of Taiwanese mustard greens. I'm not particularly sure what it is, but I just love the crunchy texture, and it really sort of soaks up all that hot oil too. So it's definitely spicy as well. It's just full of flavor. And now for the part I'm really looking forward to. Let's just get a big bite of these noodles and slurp them all up. They're definitely gonna go great with that broth. That's great. It's just the same noodles, and paired with the beefy broth, it's just pure noodle soup heaven. I know that they're really known for their wonton soup, but I might venture to say that their beef noodle soup is even better, almost like a little inside tip, just because it's so flavorful and spicy, and just really, I feel like you're getting a lot for your money because there's so much meat in here. Just huge chunks of tender beef and wonderfully bouncy, chewy noodles. Now for a minced pork over rice. This seems like it's the same minced pork that's in our wonton noodle soup, and this is served over rice. And the rice just really soaks up all the juices from the minced pork. Their minced pork in here tastes even more flavorful than the minced pork in the soup, and I think that's just because the rice soaks up the juice instead of letting it all being released out into the broth. So you get a little bit of kick, as it tastes like there's a little bit of black pepper in there, which is really nice. And the rice, again, just soaks up all that greasy fat and meaty goodness. And of course, you gotta get a bite with the pickled greens as well. These are like pickled mustard greens, very popular in Taiwanese cooking, and it really cuts through some of the richness. Oh yeah, that's just what you need. Adds a bit of crunch, and you get a little bit of tang from the vinegar that's in there, and it also adds a little bit of bitterness, which is really nice. It also comes with a marinated egg on the side as well, which is characteristic of this dish. Oh, that is great. It's just a hard-boiled egg marinated in soy sauce. Compared to Japanese cooking, they use a lot of undercooked eggs with runny yolks, whereas this is a firm yolk, which I really enjoy. I definitely prefer that. And I really love how just the flavor soaks into even the yolk, because if you can tell, the yolk is even dyed a shade of brown because of how long it's been soaking in soy. We finally made it to our last dish, which is the house special noodles with the spicy chili sauce, and we gotta give this a good mix. Let's just get a big bite of these noodles. They look really well mixed up, and every noodle is just coated perfectly in this rich brown sauce, and it smells really peppery, and I see little specks of black pepper in it. So this might be one spicy bite. That is quite peppery and spicy. Oh man. This is wonderful, but it's so much spicier than I expected. This is definitely what you would call hot on a spicy scale. It's so full of pepper, and it's something I've never experienced before. I've never had a dish this spicy from just black pepper. Just this warmth that first starts on your tongue, and then it spreads throughout your face. And you also get a little bit of sweetness from the sauce too, but it doesn't quite cut the spiciness. And again, chewy, perfect noodles. But definitely only order this if you really like the heat, because I certainly do, but it is hot. Wow, that's hot. They give you this size cup of water, and I'm definitely gonna need more than that to cut the spiciness, especially if I want to eat even close to this whole bowl full of noodles. What a great meal here at Taikee Wonton. Every dish was really unique, and they were all quite a bit different. And I was really impressed because some of these definitely caught me off guard with how tasty they were. You know, for me, it's really hard to pick favorites. All of them are great in their own ways. The eggplant's great. I always love to have a vegetable on the side, and I love that sort of sticky caramelized sauce. The minced pork over rice was really tasty. That's always a pleaser. I just love eating rice with that meat, and that's exactly what you get. And it's just really flavorful because you get all the grease and meat juices that just drip onto the rice. And the pig feet are also nice just because they're so huge, and I really like them because there's so much meat on it. So you get a balance of meat and sort of gelatinous fat, which sounds interesting, but it's just so fun to eat. And of course, you can't leave Taikee Wonton without trying their wonton noodle soup. The wontons are silky soft, and the noodles are nice, and I think there's so many different elements just because you also have the addition of minced pork on there. And you can't forget about the Taiwanese beef noodle soup. I feel like this is something people might overlook, but you really shouldn't. In fact, I think it might be even slightly tastier than their wonton noodle soup because it's just so flavorful and spicy and warming. And for spicy addicts just like myself, definitely get their house noodles with spicy sauce. The only thing I feel like it's missing is a little bit of meat, so honestly I'm probably gonna steal a bit of braised beef or maybe even some minced pork and just mix that into the noodles, and that'll just elevate it even more. And yeah, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure if you did to give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.